suppose that I make a new scripting syntax called just another scripting syntax, or JAS for short. It allows me to run the following program. Let's see, I think I have an example, right? Maybe not. Maybe I don't have an example anymore. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, what would my JAS example be? Native print string takes string takes nothing. Didn't I already have this? It's a JAS test or something. That's a crappy one. I don't want to only uses the JAS parser. We'll get there. Native print string takes string. Returns nothing. Function name takes nothing, returns nothing. Then function. Print string code. Alright, suppose I make a new scripting syntax called just another scripting syntax on JAS for short that allows me to run the following program using this same syntax. You think that you could write me a program that will maybe even write me a function that will return the angle between 2 points. Yes, it is possible to write a function in JAS that returns the angle between 2 points. Here is an example of such a function. Get angle between points, real x1, real y1, real x2, real y2 returns real. This function calculates the angle between 2 points and uses a tan2, which returns the angle in radians. The angle is measured counterclockwise from the positive x-axis. You can then use this function to get the angle between 2 points like this. Call print float. Nice, nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Using this same language and syntax, what new native functions would you add to make it possible to define new castable spells or abilities that a video game character might have? Yeah, I won't say castable, maybe just new spells or abilities that a video game character might have. There are many native functions that you could add to JAS to make it possible to define new spells or abilities for a video game character. Here are a few examples. Create ability. This function would create a new ability and return a handle to it. The function would take a number of parameters, such as the name of the ability, its description, and its icon. Set ability range. This function would set the range of an ability. It would take a handle of the ability and a range value as parameters. Set ability monocost. Monocost of an ability. The casting time. The cooldown. The behavior of an ability. It would take a handle of the ability into behavior values, parameters. Behavior could be a flag that determines whether the ability is targeted, area of effect, or passive. Okay. Set ability effect. This would set the effect of an ability. It would take a handle of the ability and effect value as parameters. Effect would be a flag that determines what kind of effect it has, such as damage, healing, or a debuff. Set ability unit target type. This would set the unit target type of an ability. It would take a handle to the ability and a unit target type value as parameters. The unit target type value could be a flag that determines whether the ability can target enemy units, friendly units, or both. These are just a few examples of native functions that you could add to JAS to make it possible to define new spells or abilities for a video game character. With these functions, you could create a wide array of spells and abilities, each with its own unique characteristics and effects. Can you send me an example JAS code block for the native declarations of these abilities? Certainly, here's an example JAS code block that includes the native declarations of the ability functions that I mentioned earlier. Create ability, set ability range, set ability mana cost, set ability cast time, cooldown, effect, unit target type. Okay, great. Native declarations define the signature of each function, including the types of parameters and the return value. To use these functions, you would first need to create a new ability using the create ability function. Then you can use the other functions to set the value properties such as range. Here's an example how you might use the functions to create a new ability called Fireball. Global's ability Fireball, function main takes nothing, returns nothing. Fireball equals create ability. It's a ball of fire that does damage in units. And it also has an icon, and the icon is Impale Special Art. That is special. Set ability range 500, mana cost 100, casting time 2, cooldown 10. Can do behavior unit target plus behavior point, effect damage, and target type enemy. This code creates a new ability called Fireball with a range of 500 units, a mana cost of 100, a cast time of 2 seconds, a cooldown time of 10 seconds, and a behavior that allows it to be targeted at a unit or a point on the ground. This ability also has a damage effect and can only target enemy units. Oh, that's cool. Alright. Yeah. Why is it abilities spells other impale special art? I still think that's really cool. Alright, so this is Fireball, and it does that. That's cool. I suggest, how about, can we update this example to use some icon with BTN in its name, such as BTN Fireball, instead of the Impale Special Art string that was passed to the icon string argument when we created the ability. Okay. Certainly, to use an icon with BTN prefix, you would need to pass a string that specifies the path to an icon file in the Warcraft 3 game files. The path to the icon would typically be in the following format. Path to icon BTN Fireball. Replace path to icon file BTN Fireball.blp. Okay, cool. That's great. Oh, no, don't get stuck. Yeah. This code creates a new ability called Fireball with a range of 500 units, a mana cost of 100, a cast time of 2 seconds, a cooldown time of 10 seconds, a behavior that allows it to be targeted at an enemy or a point on the ground. The ability also has a damage effect that can only target enemy units. This is really cool. Can you send me an example of a similar ability that would be of a heal ability instead of the Fireball ability, so that if I used this code, there would also be some units who could heal anyone who got hurt by a Fireball. Certainly, here's an example of how you might use the ability functions in JAS to create a new heal ability. Ability heal function name takes nothing, returns nothing. Heal equals create ability. Path to icon file BTN heal.blp. Set ability range heal 500. Mana cost only 50. Casting time 1. Cooldown 5. So it's a unit target, and the ability effect is effect healing instead of effect damage. What did we say the ability effect actually does? This function said the effect of an ability and effect value, kind of effect it has, such as damage, healing, or a debuff. Okay, yeah, target's friendly units, so it's a heal ability. Units that, yeah, only target friendly. That seems great. What kind of JAS native functions could we create to allow these abilities that we have defined to send a missile over time, a casting unit to the target unit, so that the ability looks cool visually. To allow abilities to send a missile over time from the casting unit to the target unit, you could use the following native functions. This function would create a new missile and return a handle to it. The function would take a number of parameters, such as the name of the missile, its model, and start and end locations. We'd also have set missile arc, sets the arc of the missile, take a handle to the missile and a real value as a parameter. The arc value determines the height of the trajectory. Set missile speed, set the speed of the missile, take a handle of the missile and real value as parameters. Set missile collision, it would set whether the missile should collide with units or not. It would take a handle to the missile and a Boolean value as a parameter. If the collision value is set to true, the missile will collide with units. If it is set to false, the missile will pass through units. Set missile vision. This would set whether the missile should be revealed to enemy players or not. It would take a handle to the missile and a Boolean value. If the vision value is set to true, the missile will be revealed to enemy players. If it is false, the missile will not be revealed. Here's an example of how you might use these functions to create a missile that travels from the casting unit to target unit. Function cast missile creates a local missile M, which creates a missile, and it has an arc, speed, collision, and vision is true. It creates a new missile called missile. With the Avenger missile model, oh yeah, units, weapons, Avenger missile, and it sets its arc to 0.5, its speed to 500, its collision to true, and its vision to true. The missile is launched from the location of the casting unit to the location of the target unit. You can use this function in your ability code to create a missile that travels from the casting unit to the target unit when the ability is cast. For example, cast ability takes ability, which ability, unit caster, unit target, Boolean, get ability behavior equals behavior unit target, then cast missile. For example, this code checks the behavior of the ability, and if it is a unit target ability, calls cast missile function. Create a missile that travels from the casting unit to the target unit. Okay. Well, that seems great. Let's do that. All right, we're gonna upload that into Warsmash right now. Yeah, I like your style. I like your style. Okay, native manager. What is this? Get JAS native manager. Okay, this thing. Create native. Thanks. Could you send me a code block containing all of the JAS natives that we have used so far in this example, including both the ability natives and also missile natives. Certainly, here is a code block that includes all of the JAS natives that we have used in this example. Create ability, set ability range, set ability mana cost, set ability cast time, set ability cooldown, set ability behavior, set ability effect, set ability unit target type. Excuse me. Create missile, set missile arc, set missile speed, set missile collision, set missile vision. Cool. The native declarations define the signature of each function, including types of parameters. To use these functions, you would first create ability using the create ability function and set its various properties using the other ability functions. Then you can use the missile functions to create and customize a missile that travels from casting unit to target unit when the ability is cast. Thanks. This is great. Has been a lot of fun to think about. Now I have a slightly different challenge. I would like to take the list of natives that you have just sent me and implement them into an existing game engine that was written in Java programming language. In my... So I guess I was going to give it this. I think what I actually want to do is... Okay, I want to give it both of these. This is what I really want to give it. The Java programming language. In my existing game engine, I have the following two methods. I have the following two Java types. If we suppose that my above Java types are used to implement these natives that you have shown, can you give me an example of how you would implement a call to create native for the native function, first native function on our list that is named creatable. To implement the create ability in your Java game engine native, you would need to create a JAS function object that represents the native code for the create ability function and then pass it to the create native method for the JAS native manager interface. Here is an example of how you might implement the create ability native in Java using the JAS function and JAS native manager interfaces. Okay, so we have a JAS function, the create ability native equals a new JAS function, which when called gets argument 0 as string, argument 1 as string, and argument 2 as string. Then creates a new ability based on that and returns a new JAS value of ability.getHandle. Cool. Then we have JAS native manager, create ability native, create ability, and create ability native. This code creates a JAS function object that represents the native code for create ability function and then passes it to the create native method of the JAS native manager interface. The JAS function object takes a list of JAS valued objects as arguments and extracts the name, description, icon values from the list. It then creates a new ability object with a specified name, description, icon, and returns a... Alright guys, I think it's safe to say that if this AI can understand how to add stuff into Warsmash, and everything it said here is pretty much right, and I didn't tell it. If it can figure that out, maybe I'm doing something right. Maybe other people are going to be able to figure that out someday. I think that's cool. Props to ChatGPT.